I feel sorry to the fans because the fight is boring. The fight is boring. Like that's not the fans are expecting to us.
Pretty certain Terence Crawford in his brain is saying to himself, I can beat this dude. You know what I'm saying? If he actually goes through with it, he'll be 38 years of age next Sunday.
There's a guy right now in the sport that's supposed to be the man, big bad wolf. You beat him, you the wolf. Now it's like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, who else I'm gonna fight? You beat the shark, you beat the wolf.
Manny Pacquiao criticized Floyd Mayweather for mentioning Terence Crawford, saying fans deserve better. According to Pacquiao, such a matchup wouldn't bring real excitement and would only feel like a light exhibition. He also noted that Mayweather has been retired for years and hasn't taken part in a true professional bout for a long time, which makes the ideal lose its value.
The fight is boring. Like that's not the fans are expecting to us. I mean, as a fighter, if I'm a fan, of course I want to see a good fight, like changing fight, not a passion show.
Manny Pacquiao spoke openly about Floyd Mayweather, saying he feels disappointed that Mayweather's focus seems more on money than the sport itself. Pacquiao believes Mayweather's return to the ring isn't about building a legacy, but about putting on exhibition matches for profit. He pointed to the idea of a fight with Terence Crawford as an example, calling it more of a business show than true competition. In Pacquiao's view, this takes away from the spirit of boxing, turning it into entertainment rather than the test of skill and heart it should be.
Now, in the beginning of this conversation, you say, I don't like boastful people. How was it like fighting Mayweather then? Did he get on your nerves? Because I feel like he's a little bit more boastful than the people you might be wanting to hang out with.
Yeah, he's boastful. I think his God is the material things, money, everything like that. I'm pretty with him because I want to share the word of God in him if he believe God.
Yeah. I've heard he's a generous man. I think he's done good things. I think, he kind of reminds me of like a lot of people are like this, by the way, including myself. I'm not just saying him. I'm including myself. The man who goes up to Jesus and says, what should I do to get into heaven? He says, sell all your belongings. And he walked away crying because he couldn't sell his belongings.
Exactly.
The news that Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson will face off in 2026 has taken the boxing world by surprise. Experts note that this isn't a clash between two fighters in their prime, but more of a high-profile event created for entertainment and revenue. The fight is being presented as a lead-up to Mayweather's possible meeting with Terence Crawford later the same year. Commentators suggest both matchups are focused on generating big pay-per-view numbers. Still, Tyson's legendary reputation and Mayweather's global name ensure that the event will grab worldwide attention, even if its sporting value is limited.
Broadcast for Jake and Tyson and some people like the likes of Carl Froch viewed that as an endorsement. Like, look, man, I'm just working. It's a big opportunity to be on Netflix. I didn't put the fight together. I'm not paying these guys. So, let's chill out. But all right, I'm not going to poo-poo this. I just don't know what CSI is. And the way it was presented made me think that there was like a secondary press release to come that they'll be involved in like some sort of like virtual boxing thing. Like it just didn't seem real. You know why it didn't seem real? I'll tell you why. There's no date attached to it. There's no venue attached to it. Forget rules, exhibition, not exhibition, weight. I mean, here's a guy who fought a heavyweight fighting forget all that. These things can get figured out, the fine details. The fact that it was announced, why announce something with no date or location attached to it? What's the point? Unless you're just trying to get people excited and trying to get them, trying to get some investors or something like that.
But maybe also testing the waters. If the response was overwhelmingly positive, maybe you go, okay, we move forward. If the response is muted or negative, maybe you go, okay, we're not going to actually do this. You lob it out there as a way to poll the public, and then make an adjustment.
So you don't think it happens?
I do not think it happens. I just don't think there will be enough interest. I know they have huge name value. There's zero after the last performance by Mike Tyson against Jake Paul. I don't think there's going to be interest in seeing Mike Tyson do that again.
Terence Crawford has often spoken with deep respect for Manny Pacquiao, calling his career one of a kind in boxing history. He highlighted how Pacquiao won championships in multiple weight classes, frequently taking on larger opponents and coming out on top. Crawford explained that Pacquiao's accomplishments were not only historic, but also nearly impossible to repeat. In his view, Manny reached greatness in a rare era, accepting challenges that few fighters would have even considered.
Man, a generational, talented fighter. Like, he's accomplished what no other fighter is ever going to accomplish.
Talk has been growing about a possible showdown between Terence Crawford and David Benavidez. Many see Benavidez as one of the most dangerous fighters in boxing today, with his size, youth, and relentless style giving him a real edge. Fans believe this matchup would challenge Crawford like never before. For now, nothing has been officially confirmed, so the discussion remains speculation. Still, the buzz shows how eager boxing fans are for real, high-stakes fights rather than exhibition-style events.
Shocked the world, not me, but shocked the world. This past Saturday, Mexican Independence Day weekend, what he took on defeated another first ballot Hall of Famer, but he essentially jumped up 3 weight classes, technically 2, from 154 to 168, but only had 1 fight at 154 last August against Israel Majimov. Terence Crawford defeated Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is a 4-division champion, 2-time undisputed super middleweight, and the reigning, at the time, super middleweight world champion, undisputed world champion. And Terence Crawford beat him handily and convincingly. And because he beat him so easily, now the 63 win, 3 loss, 2 draw, 39 win by way of knockout, biggest threat has been now imposed on Terence Bud Crawford. And that's the Mexican Ecuadorian monster, David Benavidez, who is a 2-division undefeated world champion, is the 2-time WBC super middleweight and reigning WBC light heavyweight, 175-pound champion, who has a record of 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. He stands 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach. This is a fight that David Benavidez has been calling for Canelo Alvarez when he was at 168, and Canelo Alvarez strategically maneuvered around him. But Canelo Alvarez is 5'7", with a 70-inch arm reach, started his career at 147 pounds, made his real name at 154 pounds. He's not a big guy, okay? And styles make fights. Benavidez is 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach. His last fight at 168 against Demetrius Andrade, he rehydrated to 193. So he's a big guy. Canelo Alvarez probably rehydrate to 182, maybe 185 max, right? He's not a big guy, right?
Trainer Greg Hackett praised Terence Crawford after his impressive win over Canelo Alvarez. He explained that Canelo had long been one of boxing's most dominant champions, controlling the sport with power and skill for years. Hackett said Crawford's ability to not just face Canelo, but clearly defeat him marks a major shift at the top of boxing. With that victory, Crawford is now seen as the man to beat, the fighter every contender must measure themselves against. Hackett also raised the question of what comes next. If Crawford could overcome the toughest opponent of his era, who else can truly challenge him? Fans are now debating whether he will continue to take on new fights or retire at the height of his success.
Because you got to remember, Canelo is the guy right now in the sport that's supposed to be the man, you know, big bad wolf. You beat him, you the wolf. Now it's like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, who else I'm gonna fight? You beat the shark, you beat the wolf. Right. Damn. Like, you know what I mean? Ain't no more ops out there. It's ops out there, but who gonna make them really want to get up? That's the
shit gotta make sense. Like you said, you be the shark and then you be the wolf.
Yeah.
But there's the monster.
Yeah, there is, but that's like a real monster.
Bro, that's to me it don't make sense. But that's
really
what
a monster.
Yo, is that proof? All right, we got the legendary Pape in the building. Legend. But what makes sense? Like, what makes the most sense? I know you said get a line of suits, Brooks Brothers.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Your line of suits get your money, man. Go ahead and get the easy money, man. You ain't gotta sweat no more.
What's up, boy?
Not saying you ain't gotta work, you ain't gotta sweat. He's paved a career where he could sit down at a table and get this money. He could come out with a Terence Crawford series now, just doing whatever he like to do. People gonna watch it. Nobody. The fighting part, people don't understand what it's like to be a fighter. A lot of times fighters really don't be interested in certain fights. It's because when a guy see himself up here and then is fighting a guy down here, it don't interest him. So therefore, when he train, he not gonna really train. He gonna train, but he not gonna train. He not gonna listen. He gonna feel like his coach taking it too serious, and he's like, man, this ain't even that. But your coach like, listen, you can get fucked up. I'm telling you. You don't want to listen. Then you go in there and fight that guy. Then you get.
Experts agree that Terence Crawford's dominant win over Canelo Alvarez was a defining moment in his career, settling any debate about his place in boxing history. Crawford had already impressed fans with his clear victory against Errol Spence, where he showed complete control, but beating Canelo carried even greater weight. For years, Canelo was seen as one of boxing's best pound-for-pound fighters, a champion across multiple divisions who often took on bigger, stronger opponents. Crawford not only accepted that challenge, but defeated Canelo in a way few expected. The performance proved that his skills go far beyond a single weight class or style of opponent. With his adaptability, technical brilliance, and mental toughness on full display, Crawford is now widely recognized as one of the rare fighters who has conquered every challenge put before him.
But I think there was enough action, and I think Crawford displayed his skill enough, even to someone with not the most trained eye, that they know they saw a very high-level athlete perform something at a very high level last night. I think he gained the sports world's attention last night and respect. He already did after Spence, but it went to another level in this fight.
And I think even the fight itself, like just from a median level, but then the moments where they were having these exchanges, like kind of late in the fight, then people were like, all right, it was good. Then like, okay. I saw somebody like, they're squabbing. Like, this is a fight here. So I think it did.
And Crawford closed the show.
Yeah.
In 10, 11, 12, he stood in there and landed some hard shots and rocked Canelo at the bell. He didn't, well, James was talking about the great Floyd Mayweather. Floyd would go up on you 8-0 and then coast, and you might as well turn the fight off at midway through the ninth. Like, he's not going to. But Crawford didn't do that. But he wasn't up 8-0, to be fair to Floyd. But and Floyd was when he fought Canelo, so he could do that. But Bud instead steps on the gas. Bud is a finisher. He closes really strong. He closes really strong in every exchange. That's one of his gifts. He's the best counterpuncher of his era, one of the greatest counterpunchers that lived. But the great fighters, James would tell us about this. James and Mike McCallum put on fights that exemplify what I'm talking about: initiating and punctuating, being first, being last. That's one of the things that makes Crawford who he is. So, no, I think it was a good enough fight that it certainly didn't hurt boxing.
Yeah, I think sport of boxing delivered last night. I mean, Crawford didn't deliver.
Yeah,
Manny,
it did.
The debate over Terence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather has become one of boxing's most fascinating what-if conversations. Supporters of Mayweather point to his defensive brilliance, flawless timing, and unmatched ring intelligence. In his prime, Floyd controlled fights by taking away an opponent's strengths, setting the pace, and forcing even elite challengers into uncomfortable territory. His perfect record is often used as proof of his ability to adapt to any style that on the other side. Many believe Crawford might have been Mayweather's toughest challenge. Crawford's power, calmness under pressure, and rare ability to switch stances make him stand out. Fans argue that his unpredictability and sharp finishing instinct could have pushed Floyd into exchanges he usually avoided, in the end. The comparison reflects two different paths to greatness. Mayweather built his legacy through control, precision, and calculated dominance, while Crawford thrives on versatility, pressure, and constant adjustment. The matchup will never happen, but the discussion shows a high level of respect both men command across generations.